Use this scaling strategy to take your next store to $1,000 a day. What's going on, guys? Noah Brewer here, back again for another video. And today I'm going to be giving you guys a little lesson on scaling with TikTok ads and a couple neat little tricks that I've learned that has allowed me to progress multiple accounts to multiple thousands of dollars per day, literally within the first few weeks of testing it. So as you can see, we are in my office today, and I also haven't gotten my beard cut in a while because my barber is on vacation. But ignoring those facts, let's jump right into this video and start talking about some interesting scaling techniques that you can use with your TikTok ads to get to 1,000 per day, 2,000 per day, even 3K and even higher than that. And by the way, guys, if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do that and leave a like for the algorithm because it does help a lot. So in this video, we're particularly going to be talking about ACO campaigns and isolation campaigns, what they are and how you can use them to kind of teeter-totter your way back and forth and successfully and profitably scale your TikTok ads campaigns in the best way possible. So in order to fully understand the importance of an ACO or an isolation campaign before we get into what they are specifically, you must understand how we start out a product test. Now, for those of you who haven't seen my videos before, I'm going to run down on my product testing strategy real quick just so that you have some context before we start talking about step 2s and step 3s. I want to talk about the step 1 first. Now, I currently recommend that when you're testing a product, you launch a campaign with 5 ad groups, $20 budgets, and you do basically either 2 different structures. You can do 1 ad under each ad group, and this can be 5 of the same ad, this can be 5 different ads, essentially 5 ad groups, 1 ad under each one, nothing fancy, really simple. The next strategy that you can follow is doing an ACO. Now, essentially what an ACO is you can put multiple creatives under a single ad group, and it's actually gonna optimize for the best performing creative. Even though it doesn't do that, which we'll get into a little bit later on in this video, it still optimizes very good, and usually they perform really consistently and profitably, obviously when it's a winning product. So in my eyes, there's currently 2 ways that I would recommend testing a product, either with 5 ad groups, 20 a day, open targeting, with 1 ad under each ad group, or same exact structure, 5 ad groups at 20 a day, open targeting, but instead of doing a single ad under each ad group, we're doing an ACO with 5 different ads. So essentially making a campaign dedicated to using ACO and then putting 5 ads under each ad group and obviously optimizing for ACO. Now, why are these 2 methods the 2 that I recommend? Well, the answer is simply because over the past few months, I've been testing a lot of different campaign structures, budgets, the amount of ads. Like I've tested 1 ad, 3 ads, 5 ads without ACO, 5 ads with ACO. I've tested 3 ads with ACO. And to put it simply, these 2 methods have the highest success rate, and I see the most consistency with them when it comes to transitioning to scaling. So in my eyes, your product has the best chance of working if you launch in one of these 2 ways. So now that you understand what step 1 we're taking to initially test the product, let's get into how you can very easily transition into scaling without doing anything too crazy and honestly literally pushing like 4 buttons, right? Like you can go from 100 a day to 1,000 a day by pushing like 4 buttons, and I'm not exaggerating that. You literally just click copy, change a couple things, and click publish, and that's pretty much all you need to do. So let's talk about a single ad product test. So this is going to be a situation where you only have 1 advertisement, or at least 1 good advertisement for the product. Now, there's plenty of products out there if you're repurposing content where you can get as many creatives as you want. If it's a saturated product, there's going to be hundreds of creatives out there. But there are also lots of products that are not that saturated and not that well known, and you're not going to be able to put together more than 1 advertisement for it. This is the perfect opportunity to test out a single ad test campaign. The only thing that I would recommend is that the creative is actually good and you're not just testing out one, shitty creative. Now, if you test with this method where you're basically testing with a single creative and it works out really, really great, then a great step 2 to progress your scale into, higher revenue figures, higher spend, is essentially to relaunch it the same exact way, just with an ACO. And if it's a product where you can't repurpose creatives, yes, this might mean that you have to order the product and make the creatives yourself, or hire an agency like Viral Ecom Ads to make them for you. But this is a great step too. Like if you have a single ad test campaign performing really, really well, one of the highest return things that you can do, which you actually saw the results in the thumbnail, is to find 5 more creatives or make 5 more creatives and test those 5 creatives in a new campaign with ACO flicked on. So we're going from a single ad into an ACO with 5 different creatives with the goal of progressing the scale and finding a more profitable campaign. Now, why would an ACO work when a single ad did, and why are we changing changing things so early on, and the reason is because they optimize differently. I've seen many ad accounts perform way better with a single ad, and I've seen many ad accounts perform way better with ACO, and usually it's not both. Usually it's kind of one or the other, and that's why very early on, like as a step 2 or a step 3, I like split testing ACO versus single ad group just to see where the ad account stands, you know, before increasing budgets, before going in and doing all these things. Now, let's say you're about to test a product and there's just an ungodly amount of creatives out there, or let's say you have it and you're just like, fuck it, I want to test 5 different creatives. You now have the ability to do an ACO test campaign. Now, one thing that I want to make clear, because a lot of people get this wrong, an ACO is not a form of an A to B split test. This means that TikTok is not going to evenly spend your spend among 5 different creatives, or even 25 different creatives if you're doing 5 different texts. It's basically going to choose a favorite and just spend on the favorite. And I don't know why it does this, and I don't know what indicators it uses to choose which creative to spend on. However, it's not like Facebook CBOs where it would actually optimize for the best one. It seems completely random, and whatever data they are using to decide which one to spend on is honestly not very accurate, because usually the other ads will only spend like 20 cents to $1 within the first few days. So they're not really collecting any data to know what's best and what's not anyways. So understand that this is not a way to split test 5 different creatives. The correct way to split test 5 different creatives is to separate them in their own individual ad group. That way you're forcing TikTok to spend the full budget on that single creative, because if you do ACO, it's not going to spend evenly. And honestly, if you put 5 ads under a normal ad group without ACO even, it's not going to spend evenly. It's just something that happens. But why do we do it then? Like, what's the point of doing an ACO with 5 ads if it's not a proper split test and if it's not going to give them all an equal chance? And the answer is very, very simple. It's an optimization play. For some reason, TikTok loves ACOs, and I don't know if it's the fact that we're letting them choose which one to spend on. I don't know if, the more ads, the better. I don't really know what's causing it, and I don't think anybody really knows either. However, I definitely notice a massive, massive difference between the consistency and the profitability between an ACO campaign and a non-ACO campaign for whatever reason. So understand this, doing an ACO with 5 ads is not worth it because you're split testing 5 ads. Doing an ACO with 5 ads is worth it because it works, and it's proven to work, and we know that it works. So while it's not going to be a proper split test, it still works, and I don't really care what the specifics are behind it, or if it's a split test or if it's not a split test. I care about shit working. Now, if you start a test campaign with an ACO with 5 different ads, what's a good step number 2? Like, let's say you started your ACO test campaign and it's performing really good. What do you do next? Well, essentially what you want to do is what I call an isolation campaign, and this is essentially a fancy way to say a single ad test. Basically, what we're doing is we're taking the one ad that TikTok decided to spend money on and decided to get sales with, and what we're doing is we're taking that, removing it from the ACO equation, and testing it with a single ad under each ad group in the same fashion, 5 by 20, open targeting, everything else the same. We're literally just getting rid of ACO and getting rid of the other 4. Now, what's the reason of doing this? Because obviously if you have an ACO that's already profitable and working, why would you try to switch into single ad if it's already established that ACOs perform better? And the reason is because you're essentially narrowing down what TikTok is spending on, and potentially your ad account may perform better with that one single ad under each ad group as opposed to on an ACO. Now, even though I'm hyping up ACOs and the idea of it and what it is in the industry right now, do not sleep on single ad tests. So essentially, we're creating this kind of like teeter-totter between ACOs and single ads, and honestly, this has been working really, really well for me. So if you test it with a single ad campaign and it works, then a great way to scale and move into step number 2 would be to test an ACO campaign. But if you start with an ACO campaign, a great way to test and progress the ad account would be doing a single ad campaign. So it's literally teeter-tottering from ACO to single ad, from ACO to single ad. And as long as you can keep new creatives coming in, then you should be able to hypothetically keep up this teeter-totter forever. Or you can do what I would prefer to do, which is just increasing the budgets on new campaigns and scaling vertically from that point. So switching back and forth, not only allows you to see what performs best on the ad account, whether it's ACO or single ad, but it also just gives you an excuse to make a new campaign. And it is something that you can consistently do. Essentially, every time you get 5 new ads, you can test a new ACO campaign, and every time you get an ACO campaign that works, you can test a new isolation campaign. So that's 2 potentially really profitable campaigns that you can make out the gate, and that could add an extra $100, $200 per day to your ad spend. And if you're getting a really good ROAS, you can see how we can pile up to $1,000 per day fairly quickly here. And of course, after you do a couple teeter-totters and you find what's working best for the ad account, you can then go from $20 budgets to $40 budgets, which is essentially taking the same campaign, duplicating the ad groups into a new campaign 5 times, and instead of doing $20 budgets, do $40 budgets. And then if 40 works, you can go to 100, and then 200, 300, so on and so forth until it stops working. So basically, this allows you to build a really strong foundation in the beginning of single ad campaigns and ACO campaigns, and then from there, once you have that foundation, you can go on and start scaling vertically with higher budgets and increased spend. So I hope you understand this concept, and I hope it was super duper valuable for you. If it was, leave a like and share this video with your homeboy that needs to learn how to scale on TikTok. Now, if you made it here this long, I see you and I appreciate you, but I did want to say that I do have maybe like 1 or 2 spots open in my mentoring, so there will be an application form in the description. If you wanted to work with me, now may be your chance to grab one of those spots before somebody else comes and swoops it up. I'm already in talks with a couple people about taking that spot, so if you want it, might as well shoot your shot, and maybe I can help you out in some different ways. I'm always excited to talk to you guys and learn about the problems that you're having and see if there's any way that I can help out, whether it's just finding a winner or scaling a winner, or some of you just lost direction, whatever. Any way that I can help out, feel free to reach out and let me know. And also feel free to leave feedback and questions and video ideas in the comments below, because I'm always looking for those, and honestly, video ideas help out more than you may think. That's pretty much it for this video. Use this scaling strategy to take your next store to $1,000 a day, like literally within 3 to 4 days. Please, I'm begging you. I literally just did it with one of my students, hit 1.7K on like day 4, and we literally just did this, just teeter-tottered between ACO and single ad group campaigns. But that's pretty much it for this video. My name is Noah Brewer, and I'm out. Peace.